This happened during a Boy Scout campout when I was 15. The camp was set deep in the woods, far away from any city lights. Our scout leader said it was the perfect place, quiet, wild, and untouched. Everything felt normal in the beginning. Like any other camping night, we sat around the fire, roasting marshmallows and teasing each other. As the night got deeper, the forest went strangely silent. One of the boys said, "Dude." The cricket stopped and we all heard its slow footsteps moving behind the trees. It wasn't an animal. It was too steady. To human, we froze, staring at the woods. Nobody even breathing. Our scout leader, Mr. Harlan, grabbed his flashlight and went to check. He walked into the trees alone and told us to stay by the fire. Minutes passed. The sound faded, but he didn't come back. The fire crackled, and nobody was talking anymore. Two older scouts finally decided to go look for him. They came running back after 10 minutes. Out of breath, one of them said, "We saw someone standing out there." When asked if it was Mr. Harlan, he shook his head. It wasn't him. It was taller, not just standing behind a tree. Everyone was suddenly wide awake, staring into the woods again. Then Mr. Harlan came back, but something about him felt off. He wasn't breathing hard. He wasn't even dirty, just calm. He said it was a deer and nothing to worry about, but none of us believed him. Not after what the others saw. We tried to act normal, but it felt like the forest was watching. Around 2 a.m., Carter screamed from inside his tent. We rushed over and saw his tent had collapsed. He said someone had pulled the stakes out from outside. He swore he saw hands dragging the fabric down. We looked around, but there was nothing. No prints, no sound. Mr. Harlan stood up and said, "Everyone move your tents now." He told us to bring everything closer. No more space between us. Some boys started crying. Others rushed without saying a word. No one joked around anymore. This was different. It felt wrong. The wind had stopped. The air was thick and silent. Number 3, so me and a couple of my buddies went camping last summer. We picked a random trail off the highway, parked, and hiked for about an hour. It was a basic plan: cheap beer, snacks, stories, and sleeping under the stars. We found a flat spot near a creek and set up camp before dark. We started drinking and joking loud. No one else for miles around. Somewhere past midnight, we heard a sound from the woods. It was a weird low chuckle, like a drunk guy laughing to himself. We all paused, thinking maybe someone else was camping nearby, but then it happened again. Closer this time, not like a coyote or anything. This sounded human. One of my friends stood up and shined his flashlight toward the sound. There was nothing there, just trees, shadows, and silence. He joked, "Guess the forest wants a drink too." But his voice shook. We tried to go back to normal, but something felt off. A beer can fell over, and all of us jumped at once. We started hearing light rustling, first behind us, then to the left, but every time we aimed the light, it was quiet again. Then came the laugh again. Same exact tone. Right behind us. We spun around. Nothing, like absolutely nothing. No leaves moved, no footstep, just pure stillness. We thought maybe someone was messing with us. One of the guys shouted, "Yo, if you're out there, come say hi." Silence for a few seconds, then a long, deep laugh echoed. This time, it felt closer than ever, but no one was visible. It didn't echo like from a distance. It was light. Right here. We packed up super quick and decided to sleep in the car instead. As we walked back toward the trail, it stayed dead silent. No more laughs, no footsteps, not even a breeze. We tried joking about it, but nobody really laughed anymore. We were walking fast, like power walking, without saying it out loud. Then just before we reached the car, we heard it again, the same drunk laugh, this time from the opposite direction. We spun around, expecting to see someone behind us, but there was nobody there. Not a shadow, not a sound, and the scariest part wasn't the laugh. We sat there in silence, looking at each other. No one said anything. We were just breathing fast and wide-eyed. It was 3 a.m., and something had just touched our tent wall, not brushed it, pressed into it, like a palm dragging slowly across. We didn't even blink, just listened for any sound outside. I whispered, "Did you feel that?" And my friend just nodded. He mouthed, "Don't move," like something was waiting for us to react whatever was out there. It wasn't an animal to slow, to deliberate a zipper sound started, not ours. From the other tent nearby, we froze again, knowing nobody inside that one was awake. Then we heard footsteps light. Like bare feet on dry leaves, they circled both tents, stopping every few seconds, then continuing. My other friend whispered, "I'm gonna run for the car." I grabbed his arm and shook my head, terrified. We didn't know how many were out there or what they were. Finally, we heard a soft grunt, like disappointment, and the footsteps started to fade into the woods. We sat completely still for another 10 minutes, no talking, barely even breathing. Then we heard something like fabric ripping. That was it. We grabbed our flashlights and bolted. Didn't pack anything, didn't fold a thing. Just ram. Branches slapped our faces, and one guy dropped his phone. No one turned back. Not even once. We got to the car in minutes that felt like hours. We slammed the doors, locked everything, and just stared at each other. None of us said a word for a solid 5 minutes. Then someone whispered, "What the hell was that thing?" Nobody answered. We didn't want to even guess. We drove off without looking back, headlights bouncing on dirt. Next morning, we came back after sunrise with an adult. All our gear was still there, but our tarps were gone. The tents were ripped like someone had cut through them. No animal prints, just smudges like hands dragged across the ground. We packed what was left and didn't say a word on the way back. After college, I went backpacking in the Canadian wilderness. I needed time off. No people, no phone, just woods and peace. Carried a tent, my old Nikon camera, some canned food, and a journal. Hiked a couple of days and set up near a river bend. No trails, no campers, just untouched forest and quiet. When the first night was calm, just the sound of owls and running water. I took some night photos before crawling into my sleeping bag. Woke up to dew and a bit of fog. Everything untouched. I checked my camera out of habit, battery low, memory full, which was weird because I only remember taking 4 or 5 shots. I scrolled through the photos to delete a few and make space, but there were over 30 images I didn't remember taking. Almost all were dark and blurry: twigs, tree trunks, tent walls. Then I saw one that made my stomach drop, a photo of me asleep inside my tent. From the outside, my heart was pounding. Who took this? When? How? The timestamp said 3:12 a.m. I had been dead asleep. There were 3 more just like it, slightly different angles. One of them had a faint shape reflected in the tent window. I stared at it for 5 minutes, afraid to keep swiping. I checked around the tent for tracks, but the ground was too dry. I thought maybe I'd accidentally set the timer, but multiple angles. I didn't sleep that night, just sat up with my knife in hand. Every noise made me jump. Every crack felt like a footstep, but nothing happened. No visitors, no second camera incident. Next day, I packed early and hiked fast toward the nearest road. Kept looking over my shoulder every 10 minutes. No signal on my phone until late afternoon, when I got service. I sent the photos to a friend without explaining. His reply was just 2 words: "That's not you." I zoomed in again and realized what he meant. The guy in the photo was sleeping with his head the wrong way, and my sleeping bag had a patch that wasn't on mine. It wasn't just creepy, it was like someone posed the scene. I deleted the photos, but I still feel watched sometimes. My boyfriend and I decided to go out to the gorge for some quality time. Camping, we brought everything: tent, sleeping bags, snacks, even a hammock. It was off season, so barely anyone else was around. We parked by the trail ahead and hiked about a mile and set up near the edge where we could see the water below. The first night was peaceful, with nothing but the sound of crickets. We made a small fire, cooked dinner, and watched the stars. Sometime past midnight, we heard twigs snapping near the trail. Thought maybe an animal had wandered close to the scent of food, but the sound stopped completely once we sat up. Next morning, we found a strange boot print near the tent, too big to be mine, too narrow to be his, and facing the door. We brushed it off, but decided not to mention it again. Second night felt heavier somehow, like the woods were holding their breath. At one point, we both woke up at the exact same time. There was someone walking slowly around the tent. We heard whispering, but couldn't make out the words. The zipper moved halfway before we shouted and turned on a light. Whoever it was ran quick, heavy footsteps smashing through brush we didn't chase. Just sat there breathing like we'd run a mile next morning. We went to the park ranger with what happened. He listened quietly, then nodded and said, "He's back again. Apparently a homeless man had been spotted in the area before he used to camp nearby but vanished last year after people complained. He was harmless, they said. Just lonely but definitely unstable." We packed up fast. Didn't want a second surprise at night, but before we left, we checked the woods one last time, about 30 yards from our tent. We found a pile of belongings, blankets, trash, and photos somewhere of random people somehow. 2 of those photos were of us, sitting by our fire. My blood ran cold. I had no idea when he took them. We never saw a flash, never heard a camera click. He must have been close, watching us the whole time. We handed everything to the ranger, who promised to report it. Then we drove home and never talked about camping again.